Mary Robertson Moses, born in 1860 in Greenwich, New York, had a love of art as a child. But the realities of a hard and lower class life caught up to her about the time she was 14 years of age. Forced to work as a housekeeper for her neighbor, and then work farm to farm to farm as a farmhand and a housekeeper for the rest of her work life. A matter of fact, from the age of 14 to the age of 78, when her husband passed, all she did was keep house and help other farmers with their farm. And then at 78 years of age, she retired to live with her daughter. Well, what does she do as a retiree? What should she do? Well, she returned to the art that she loved as a child. And she started painting, picked up a paintbrush for the first time at 78 years of age, and she began painting, and she began painting, and she began painting. For the next 23 years, she painted 1,500 canvases that are among the most famous American paintings. She was memorialized by President John Fitzgerald Kennedy when she died in 1861. She was celebrated by President Harry Truman while she was still alive. There is a stamp commemorating her art, 25% of which she did after the age of 90. Let me say that again. 25% of the art she did after the age of 90. Of course, rather than Anna Mary Robertson Moses, you probably know her by her nickname, Grandma Moses. It is never too late to be who you might have been. Our last speaker, Tatiana Duplessis, is a producer, writer, director of original content that showcases and empowers the voice of black women, sorely needed a shut-up edge. She's known for her work, and in that community, she's become a key member of that community. She is now producing a 7-part film called Amare. Again, empowering black women with a voice. If you watch it, it is going to change your perspective and belief system, I can assure you. Someone about to have a tremendous impact on the world, and the lesson that she gives to children is a very simple lesson. It is never too early to be anything and anyone you want. Tatiana, come on.
I'm very happy to be here with all of you. Like Stephen said, I'm a writer, director, executive producer, founder of Slept On Creatives LLC. A little bit about Slept On, right? Slept On Creatives was first thought about in 2011, and eventually finally getting licensed in 2016. And the whole idea behind Slept On Creatives is to, be the voice for people of color, right? I'm an avid TV watcher. There's lots of content out there. But I created Slept On Creatives so that it can speak to me and speak to people that look like me, right? What's displayed on the VH1s, the different channels, was not something that I felt represented us the correct way. So I put, my business shoes on, and I was like, look, I wanted to create a platform where it can speak to me and the things that I wanted to see displayed for people of color. So a little bit about myself. I currently work at Viacom as a creative operations manager. So I'm working on all these different web series and short films while having a full-time job, but also going home and working on my craft. I have a partner who is head of creative, Jomo Farrier, and he's basically his superpower is turning dreams into reality, so you could just imagine where that can go, right? And then we have Breathe, a comic strip, and then Hollowed Ground. So part of the reason why Renaissance X is so important to us is because not only will it create content, but it will also establish lots of jobs for different people. And one of the things that we gravitate towards and why we've developed Slept On Creatives is so that we can be the voice of the youth. We recently had we recently spoke to a group of students who were like out of their mind about what we created, and it made us realize that we were on the right path, because there's kids in Brooklyn, the Bronx, and Harlem who feel like they're unable to create what they have in their heads. There's lots of, maybe not having support with their families, maybe thinking that it's impossible, maybe thinking that it's just a TV thing, but when they were able to see the book, and they were able to see the person in front of them, it was more visual for them, and it seemed more acceptable, and it seemed like it was okay to be a dreamer, right? So yeah, most importantly, we want to do Renaissance X to establish more jobs. We would be hiring producers, editors, PAs on set to help us. And most importantly, we want them to be paid. That was also more of the foundation of what Slept On is. Lots of people do a lot of the work and they don't get compensated what they're worth. So it's very important for Renaissance X for us to produce content and be able to pay our staff and our helpers and our crew what they're worth. And along with that, depending on what you're offering, we'll be able to give you credits, executive producer credits, regular producer credits. It's all on the website. If you scroll down, you'll be able to see the link, click the link, and it'll take you straight to the site where it breaks down the different tiers based off your donation. And to end it off, I want to say this because it's super important to me. Inspiration is contagious. The great thing is that you can also learn from the experiences of those before you. Renaissance X is a symbol of that way of artistic excellence. Creativity and its blessings are like a baton. Not only must you run as fast and as hard as you can once it's in your hands, but you must also pass it on. With the help of Slept On Creatives and the sponsors of this project, we can pass the baton to the creators of Hollywood's next masterpiece. Thank you.
He was 53 years of age and in prison. Not unusual. Spent most of his life in prison. He was 53 years old, and he was bankrupt. Not unusual. He was bankrupt most of his life. When he joined the military, one of the few times he was out of prison, he was dishonorably discharged and lost the use of his left hand. He was drunk most of his life. He was drunk most of his time in prison. He held various government jobs the few times he was out of prison. He was fired within 1 week of every single job he ever held. And at age 53, he decided to write a book. Any investors? That book has enthralled readers for the past 415 years. Is perhaps the most beloved book, not called the Bible, and enthralls readers 415 years after it was written. It is never too late to be what you might have been. The title of the book, Don Quixote, the author's name, Cervantes. It is never too late to be who you might have been.